You are tuning into the LEHI, Low Ego, High Impact Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Volkan Emre, along with a dynamic team of Kellogg School of Management alums. We are here on a shared mission to uncover the mindset that drives impact and success. On LEHI, we have thought-provoking conversations with incredibly successful entrepreneurs, business leaders, and investors from around the globe. We uncover the mindset that drives them, allowing them to make a high impact without losing themselves to ego. Now, let's get started with today's episode. Today, we are honored to host Orie Browne, a distinguished physician, tech entrepreneur, and community service leader. As the Chief Medical Officer at Checkpoint Health, Orie plays a pivotal role in providing innovative health management solutions for people with chronic illnesses. His extensive career as a physician spans various locations in the U.S. and internationally. Orie's remarkable educational and professional journey started at West Point and advanced with significant experiences in Israel, Germany, and the United States. He holds an MD from the Medical School for International Health at Ben Gurion University in Israel, where he also earned his PhD in Neurophysiology. Orie is a fellow of the American Academy of Family Physicians and the Academy of Wilderness Medicine. Additionally, Orie is an alum of the Kellogg School of Management, where he completed the Executive MBA program. I was privileged to be his classmate at Kellogg. Beyond his professional life, Orie is a sailor with a deep passion for linking sailing to meaningful community service. We are recording this podcast in Tel Aviv, Israel, where Orie and I are visiting as Crown Family Israel Fellows at the Kellogg School of Management. Welcome to the LEHI Mindset Podcast, Orie.
Good morning. Thank you.
We are recording this podcast from the Sheraton Hotel in Tel Aviv, situated in an amazing room that overlooks the magnificent beach of this vibrant city. Orie, we have a tradition to start with some short warm-up questions to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Neither. Water.
Water. Okay.
Passion fruit juice.
Dogs or cats?
Both.
Both. Nice. Mountains or beaches?
Mountains.
Text or call?
Call.
Music or podcasts?
Tough one. Music.
Music. PC or Mac?
Both. There, I gotta go both again.
Never actually heard this on this podcast before. Wow. Drive or fly?
Drive.
Okay. What's worse, dishes or laundry?
Dishes.
Okay. Wow. And Orie, could you start by briefly sharing your journey from West Point to your current role?
Wow, it's been an adventure. It's been kind of fun. So West Point for me was an amazing experience. It was transformational. Growing up, I grew up involved in a lot of different activities, liked being involved with people and learning and having fun. And when I went to West Point, it took those experiences, and I feel like it really contributed to who I am today by helping me believe more in myself, understand what I was capable of, and it really set me on a path to explore my life and the world and everything in the future. So it really was a springboard into everything else I did, and I'm very, very grateful for having that experience there. It was wonderful. So I was there for 2 years, and I had always planned on leaving there after 2 years to go and serve a mission Then my intent was at the time to return and continue on a military career. But when I did leave, I went to Brazil for 2 years as a missionary. And during that time, some of my views about what I wanted to do with my life changed. And I settled in on a determination to pursue medicine as a career and decided to do that outside of the military. And so I chose not to return to West Point. And so when I came back to the United States from Brazil, I entered the university. I was at the time at Brigham Young University, and my interest both at West Point and at Brigham Young University, my major was Middle Eastern Studies. When I first showed up at West Point, they presented to us all these different options for majors, and there weren't a lot of options. I think it was less than 30 that were available for us to choose from there as students, but Middle Eastern Studies just really grabbed my attention, and I enjoyed the courses that I had in that. And so that was an interest that I had, and it fit well, I felt like, with medicine, just because I had a friend, a neighbor who was a radiologist, and he had told me how he had kind of put the blinders on in his undergraduate and did a degree in biology and finished up in 3 years and went to medical school and went through. And he told me, he says, when you go to medical school, that's what you're focusing on, and you're going to be able to do that kind of for the rest of your life. And so he made the recommendation that during my undergraduate studies and any other opportunities I had, that I sought other types of things to learn to round out my education. And so Middle Eastern Studies was a kind of a fun fit there, and it was focused on people, which is really my interest and has been throughout my life. And so during that time after I came home, I wound up getting married to a wonderful woman who we're still married today, almost 27 years.
Wow.
And have 6 kids. So,
oh, wow. Impressive.
And she started grad school up at Idaho State University. So I transferred to go with her there, and they didn't have a Middle Eastern Studies program. Oh. So I had to make a little bit of a pivot, and I wound up in the anthropology department, working with a linguist there, and just had an amazing experience. And so once again, focusing on people and cultures and all the wonderful things out there in the world. And so at that point, I did apply to medical school, and I had some options in the U.S., and I happened to get a letter from Columbia University, and Columbia had teamed up with Ben Gurion University in Israel and created an international medicine program, and it just really caught my interest. It was like me to a T. And I told my wife about it, and she said, go for it. And so we applied, and we're fortunate enough to be accepted into the Medical School for International Health in Beersheba, Israel, at Ben Gurion University. And so we, at the time that we left to come to Israel, we had our first child. He was 11 months old when we arrived in Israel. And the adventure began. It was quite a ride, taking a young family and showing up in a new country and going through that adventure. So we had this amazing experience in Israel, and really the amazing thing about that experience for me was the people, both my classmates and the faculty and the university kind of culture and atmosphere that I got to be a part of was amazing. And so, do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. So the creation of the International Medicine program and your intention to study medicine kind of overlapped, and you came with your family and started like fresh in Israel, like where we are right now.
Yes.
And then you became a medical doctor, right? As a result of that journey. Yeah. And I know you also spent some time in Germany. I think it's one of their most respected research institutions that was also an experience you had. And then you also recently had an Executive MBA, right, from Kellogg School of Management, and that's like how we met, and actually that's why we are here in Israel. So you have a truly diverse educational background, and from anthropology to medicine. How have these influenced, this diversity, your perspective on healthcare and potentially beyond?
You know, I like I said before, my focus has always been on people and learning. Those are the two things that really motivate me and drive me. And as I had the opportunity to have these different experiences in different places and different types of learning and different subject matter, and then at the same time be able to work in my career as a physician, I feel like all of those things came together in a way that helped me care for the people that I had some responsibility for and commitment to in a different way. I was, in fact, last night we were walking along the street here in Tel Aviv, and I was talking with one of our cohort members here that's originally from China, and we were talking about some of those experiences, and he was telling me how his wife is trained in Chinese medicine and acupuncture. And we were talking about it, and I explained to him some of my interest in that field. And I told him that, you know, whenever I'm with people that I'm caring for, I tell them that I want you to be well. I want you to be happy and healthy, and whatever I can do to help you realize that type of experiences is what I want to do. And there's so many wonderful things out in the world, and so many things that I've had the chance to learn and partake of, and so many things that I haven't that other people can share. And so I think all these experiences have helped me to learn that I can take what I can share and then hopefully bring in what other people have that I don't, that can enrich other people's lives too. And so being able to be open to ideas and ways of doing things, and just let kind of the goodness that's out there from other people kind of come in to what I'm doing and be a part of hopefully blessing people's lives.
So on this podcast, actually one of the reasons to start this podcast is to understand people's mindset. And to me, what you just told reflects your mindset. I believe you will probably agree with me, or am I correct in that?
Absolutely.
And I think it has a lot to do with personal and professional growth. I believe the mindset that you just talked about was probably the reason that helped you to have this continuous development, both personally and professionally. Would you agree with that, the connection between the mindset and the continuous growth you have been experiencing in the past, I would say, at least 2 decades at this point?
Absolutely. You know, it's been what's driven everything. I think that I want to feel like I can help other people, and by focusing on learning and continued growth, it helps me to do that better. And it's no fun to sit still. It's nice to keep kind of learning and growing, and it's able to help me then serve other people in a meaningful way, I feel.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Your resume is really one of the thickest resumes I've ever seen, and you are truly you actually have been truly an inspiration for our classmates at Kellogg School of Management's Executive MBA program so far. It's been really great to be with you, and I personally really learned a lot from you,
very
classroom and then beyond. Let's talk about actually what you do right now, because I believe that besides, in addition to being a physician, you also have passion for entrepreneurship. So for our listening audience, like, would you mind briefly explaining what you are doing in that particular space, what you have done, and what are you planning to achieve in the entrepreneurship field?
Okay. So I'm fortunate enough right now to have a day job that is flexible in my choice of how I spend my time, and it's provided an opportunity for me to explore some of these other interests in entrepreneurship that I have. And even the day job is kind of entrepreneurial in that I get to work for a startup that's providing an important and rather new type of medical service for people with chronic illness. And so that's been a lot of fun to work with the team there and develop that service and those ideas and kind of how we approach it. And then at the same time, have the chance to hopefully realize a little bit of some of my dreams and how I get to spend my time and take care of other people. And so I have an absolute passion for sailing. I love it. It's been something I've really been doing actively for about 10 years, and it has been just incredible. It's, I can have a rough day, be stressed, be tired, and get out on the water, and it all just melts away, and I get a smile on my face, and I just feel better. And I've seen that happen for other people too, just on a real broad scale. People are blessed by being out on the water and experiencing that. There's just some sort of magic that happens there. It's hard to describe, but people I sail with have had the same experience, and they
actually, to be honest, my first ever sailing experience was with you on Lake Michigan last summer, and I will say first and only at this point. But to put this into like some structured like context for the listening audience, like, you are involved in entrepreneurship on the professional level. I would say you are focusing on developing a healthcare startup,
yes,
for people who are in chronic illness conditions, and it would be great like to have some more details on that. But in addition to this professional I would say engagement, like on the very personal end, you have a beating heart for sailing, and you have been developing some projects in that particular area, right? And not only just for yourself, but you have been building really impactful concepts to help others.
Right.
And with that classification, like I don't know whether you would agree with me, but there is this for-profit entrepreneurship you are involved in. There's also non-profit entrepreneurship driven by sailing that you are also involved in.
Right.
And let's talk about the for-profit, like first, like in detail, and then go from there to the non-profit one. So, you talked about people with chronic health conditions. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure. So the company I work for now is a subsidiary of a parent company that does the I've fallen and I can't get up type buttons. And so all of the customers that our parent company has are typically age 75 and older, the majority of which have some form of chronic illness, whether it be high blood pressure, diabetes, or respiratory disease or heart problems. And so as a part of an evolution of that company, the founders asked me and one other person to come in and help develop this new service focused on these important people in our community who are older and have these diseases, and see if we could find a way to make an impact there and make some profit as well. And it is a for-profit business, as you mentioned. And so the area that we've really focused in on right now is providing a remote physiologic monitoring service. And it's an area that's relatively new that is developing. The technology there is changing really rapidly. It's fantastic to see the work that's going on there. But what we do is we work with people with these chronic illnesses and provide an opportunity for them to measure physiologic parameters like their blood pressure, their blood sugar, their oxygen saturation, their heart rate, things like that. We can do fall detection and a variety of things. And so we provide the devices and means for them to take these measurements regularly at their home and at their convenience. And then we do a variety of things with those measures. So one is that we monitor them in an effort to prevent deterioration and emergency conditions, to help prevent emergency room visits and hospitalizations. For example, if someone's blood sugar is running low and they check it, we can respond by phone to them in real time, to a caregiver, and be able to help walk them through resolving that issue without having to call an ambulance or have further complications. And there's all kinds of applications there for different measures that we track. And so we have that type of service where we can monitor and respond to help prevent problems, which for the people that we serve is really important. It saves them time and it's more convenient and hopefully contributes to them being just healthier and better off. And then it hopefully contributes to the healthcare community as well by saving costs and burden on things like our emergency rooms, which are so busy. And so it's a nice thing that we can do. And then we employ medical assistants who regularly interact with all of our customers and help engage them in their own healthcare, providing educational materials, talking with them about the measures that they're taking, and gathering information that can be important in caring for them. And then we package all of that information and share it with their care team so that the information can be used to better manage these chronic conditions. And so you can imagine getting a whole series of blood pressure measurements in a month and sharing that with their physician is more actionable material than, say, a blood pressure that they get once or twice a year.
Yeah.
To act on. So.
Yeah, and everything you just said actually is data at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And there's this data aspect also, in addition to this excellent service that you're providing both to physicians and the your clients, I would say, in this particular case, people in with chronic illnesses. Any efforts like to use that data, because you are really generating very, very valuable data at this point, and I have to believe that you probably have some plans about like what to do with this excellent data you guys are generating.
Absolutely. So data is fun and helps us improve. And so the information that we're gathering, the data that we're gathering, is unique in the sense of really in the past of in the history of healthcare, we haven't had access to this type of data to this degree and quality. And so there are some new frontiers with determining how to use it and what's the most effective way to use it to contribute to wellness and to improving our healthcare system. And so we are starting to look into those types of measures. And then also when we talked about prevention just a bit earlier, in how we monitor that data and what types of trends and things we can identify that help us respond sooner to help prevent problems and make important changes in caring for people. So data is important that way. And then also on a much larger scale, we have an opportunity to work with another country that's employing these resources on a larger scale, and being able to combine this data with broader health care data such as hospital records and primary care records, and be able to look at the impact on hospitalization rates and all kinds of other aspects of health can be really valuable. So there's definitely some plans in motion for working with that data. And
you already went beyond the US and already are capable of tracking what's going on in other a country. And I think the scope too, right? Like right now, you gave a very specific age reference, which was 75 and above. And I think you can probably change the filters and apply and basically expand the coverage of this particular solution you are developing to other areas of like medicine, which can really help you really scale the solution and the platform you are currently working with and developing.
Yeah, we're working on some movement in that direction right now. It's interesting in the United States in healthcare. Of course, one of the big things that determines the type of work that's done is how it's paid for. And so right now we're working primarily with Medicare as a payer source, and Medicare has a set of rules that they use to kind of help us determine what we can and can't do or what we're going to get paid for. And then they tend to influence the other payers and how things roll out. And so it's an interesting process of rolling out and expanding some of these services in a way that the healthcare system that we have in the United States will support it, and it's a little bit of a trailblazing process right now with showing the value of some of these services and what happens, and it takes some time, but we're definitely working that way.
That's great. Let's move to the nonprofit activities and platforms. I know that you have developed 2 solid concepts so far, if I'm not mistaken. Will it be possible to provide some more details about them? Maybe you added a third one, but I know you were working specifically on 2 concepts in this like nonprofit like field. It would be great to hear more about them.
Sure. So the one that's, I think, foremost in my thoughts right now is work being done to develop sailing as a therapeutic adjunct in treating some mental illness challenges such as PTSD and anxiety. There has been a little bit of work done out there in a structured research type of manner that has some promising results, at least kind of opens the door to look at things further. And I've had the opportunity to talk with some of the people that have performed that initial research, and I'm looking to pick up and carry on with that work. Primarily right now looking at working with veterans who have really dedicated their lives to giving service to others and providing the way of life that we have. And unfortunately, in many ways, suffer from some of the experiences that they endure on our behalf, and particularly when they come home from service and making that transition back into civilian life, and after retirement, there's been a challenge with suicide in that community in particular, and suffering, which is unfortunate. And there has been work done to help alleviate some of that suffering, and I'd like to be able to kind of pick up and carry on and develop that further. Really, the idea is to be able to conduct research to help standardize some of the methodology and the way that we approach using therapeutic resources such as sailing in treatment of these conditions. And I'd like to be able to develop the knowledge and methodology around that, and then be able to share with others to be able to employ those measures to help care for people. It's being able to develop other methods for treatment is really important, because we so much is based on medicine and pharmacological treatments and things, and we only have so many resources and are only so effective. And so being able to develop other beneficial types of treatment adjuncts is really important. So working with veterans is one, and then with other people with particularly young adults and teenagers with anxiety is another kind of focus that I have there.
And the other one?
Which one are you referring to?
I'm referring to, I'm remembering the one about warming people up to sailing, maybe.
So I can think of two things. So there's one is working particularly with kids and youth in teaching sailing, providing just the experiences and getting out there.
That's the one. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And so doing that and also employing a particularly an educational component of it focused on STEM learning, which is science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yes.
And then also some environmental and conservation concepts as well, because it's something we face challenges with, and how our lakes and oceans and wilderness areas are changing, and being able to be good stewards of these amazing resources that we have. And so sailing is such a fun activity because it's fun, it's engaging, it's always changing. We're dealing with wind and waves and the water and currents and tides and all these things that are going on. So it's dynamic and always moving, and it's this direct interaction we have with the world around us. And at the same time, when we're interacting with the world, we have to make decisions about how to work the boat. And so you get into science and physics and engineering and everything that's going on, and understanding how to get this, piece of material bobbing in the water to actually move through it in a meaningful way.
Real life application of everything you learn at school.
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And it seems that currently, because there's so much one person can do, right? It seems that your focus is actually more on the therapeutic side. Maybe it's not the wrong term to use, but your focus is more on the first nonprofit concept that you explained. It's about potentially treating PTSD. Probably you are currently focusing on that one more than the other one you just mentioned, right?
Well, I think they're both happening simultaneously. Just at this moment in time, I've been putting more effort on the research side and getting that going. And just the time horizon and when I can get certain things done is different. But both are happening. And it's fun because they both go together so well. And really it comes down to building knowledge and, contributing to education and how we employ that knowledge to really just help people out.
And you mentioned that you have 6 kids.
Yep.
And you are working on a very exciting venture, I will say tech venture. How can you find time to do all of these? Because you have a very serious responsibility. You are actively working on tech venture, and you have this amazing nonprofit concepts going on the site, and you have 6 children.
Mm-hmm.
And you just finished Kellogg Executive MBA, and I know how time-consuming it is. How do you create time? How do you find time to do all of these?
I think that's a really good question. So I know you weren't being confrontational. I'll push back. I don't create time. There's no way to create time, right? It's we only get what we've got. And so how do we choose to use that time? Mm-hmm. My wife and my children have been absolutely instrumental and kind of important in how that happens. And so a lot of the things that I've done and the things that I pursue are because I can involve them in those activities. And so, for instance, with this nonprofit work that I'm working on developing, I've been talking with my kids about being involved with it and how they can help me develop some of these ideas. And so much of the time that I spend and the things that I choose to spend my time on are dependent on my family. The things that we have a shared interest in or shared love for, and we can do together. And so if whatever activity I might be interested in didn't involve them in any way, I would likely probably not follow through with it. And so they're part and parcel to all that's going on, really. Like my time at Kellogg, no chance I would have done that without my wife being behind me, driving me. In fact, she's been that way through my whole career, education, go get a PhD, go do these things. And she makes it all possible. And wow, she's amazing. And, and I'm very grateful to her for, providing, the foundation and structure in which I can pursue some of these educational and professional passions that I have.
That's wonderful. And as you were talking, I was thinking about like the some core principles Kellogg School of Management promotes, and I can think of like 3: achieve together, promote community success, and provide low ego with high impact. And I think you're really truly like doing like these. And with that, maybe allow me ask you a final question, and it's about what is the Kellogg impact on your professional and personal life?
I've thought about that some, and the first thing that comes to mind when I think about the impact Kellogg has had on me is, I guess the word I would use is hope, in the sense that what an incredible experience I had at Kellogg, particularly with my classmates in my cohort, with the students in other cohorts, and with our faculty, seeing the type of people that are out there, the caliber of people, the goodness and the drive, and being able to interact with them and learn from them and have those experiences just makes me hopeful and about what comes next. There's just so many great people out there, and I'm so thankful to have been blessed to be able to be a part of it and interact with these people.
Orie, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks.
I truly enjoyed this conversation, and thanks for being on the Low Ego, High Impact Mindset podcast.
Thank you. Keep up the great work.
Thanks. Thank you for diving deep with us on another episode of LEHI, Low Ego, High Impact Mindset. Join us every week as we discover the stories, strategies, and insights that will empower you to grow personally and professionally. Stay inspired and catch you in the next one.